Jay, have you been here before for To the House?
No, I have not.
Really?
Nope.
Man, we're going to have to get Jay's unhinged Seahawks takes in here this summer.
Yes.
When it's slow. and I don't want to talk about the
Unhinged
Raiders.
being the key word.
Yes.
Jay's a very reactionary person. His takes are very, very black and white. But sometimes that's what you want, especially on a sports.
But they're usually
show.
correct.
Well,
Yeah, come on.
Jay,
All right.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty accurate.
It's okay. We're not gonna dive into any of that today. Fortunately,
Just America.
just America,
Just America.
just America.
Which is clearly black or white.
Yes. I am correct on that one.
All right, welcome to the house, episode 29. If you need homeless or at-risk services, you can take it to my house, 300 North Willow Street in downtown Wasilla. We're hiring. We also have treatment, all of that stuff on our website, myhousematsu.org. Check it out. I'm Isaac Smolden. Brian's like working or something right now. We have, speaking of residential treatment, we just have all these intakes and referrals, and it's great and it's important. And so he's doing his job and not here,
Well,
which is
he doesn't really understand hockey, though.
which is fine, right? Because I've been trying to get him to watch more hockey this year. I had to watch the Spurs play basketball the other day because it was on.
Terrible.
March Madness is almost here.
That's
Jay,
awesome.
actually, we'll have Jay back for March Madness.
I'm all
as
about
well.
it.
Right.
Yeah, he
That's
likes
my jam.
Duke or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big Duke fan.
Gonzaga, Gonzaga, go Gonzaga,
Nope,
go
nope.
Gonzaga.
Richmond Spiders.
Hey, they've made the tournament a couple times. Oh, my gosh.
Roger.
They actually beat.
Roger.
They beat
Who?
They won one game. I
Okay,
think.
this wasn't the plan. But who are the Richmond Spiders?
Oh, I have
Roger?
no idea, but their spiders is their mascot. So
Yeah.
how cool is that? Right?
Where I'm from is only 2 hours away from there, so yeah.
No, and was it like 10 years ago that they made
They
the
did.
tournament, and they actually did pretty good
Yeah.
for
What?
being just the Richmond Spiders.
Yeah, they were a 15 seed, I think.
Well, how are they doing this year?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I know. I can tell you how Duke's
Get out me
doing.
coughing. I'm
Duke's
dying.
doing very well.
Okay. Well, we'll monitor the Richmond Spiders as things develop. Okay, hockey. Hockey is great right now. Speaking of how hockey is way better than the NBA, the Four Nations face-off is in full swing. This episode's going to drop right as the championship game happens, which is why I've got my Anchorage Wolverines Stars and Stripes jersey from this year.
Very America.
Very America. This is actually one of my favorite alternate jerseys that they've done because they auction them all off for charity.
I was at that game.
You were at that
I
game,
was at
yeah.
that
It was a good game too. I
was a
think
good game.
they swept the weekend
Sure did.
when they won these. So
Yeah.
double awesome. And I'm wearing my Mariners hat because it's the 4th of July one.
But
even
it's
though I don't.
America on that.
It's
too.
America, so I wore it. I don't want to think about the Seattle Mariners right now, but it's the only USA hat that I have. So Four Nations face-off, rather than doing an all-star game, what the NHL did this year is not Russia, which would have had, I think, the third most players playing in the league, but for obvious reasons, they're not allowed to play. And so they had the other top 4 countries based off of players that are in the NHL put together a team to compete against each other in a 3-game round robin and then a winner-take-all championship game. That's the U.S., Canada, Sweden, and Finland. And the U.S.-Canada game in the round robin was so big that Jay talked to me about it in the office the next week. There were
I talked to you that night, remember?
3. You did
Yeah.
text me, yeah. 3
did.
fights in 9 seconds.
Awesome.
Our new national heroes, the Kachuk brothers,
Yes.
Brady and Matthew, just absolutely throwing hands very early on. So I certainly have my own thoughts around this tournament and the format of this, but from more of an outside looking in perspective, maybe starting with Jay, what are your thoughts here about what the NHL is doing?
I liked it. Unlike, I didn't really like what the NBA did this year. That was pretty terrible.
That's where I'm going with this. Yes.
Yeah. It was obviously, this is the first time they've done the
Yeah.
championship 4. I like it. I thought it was a good idea rather than just having, East versus West or however they do it in the NHL. I liked it.
The games matter a lot more.
The games matter. Pride. Yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it so far, and I'm gonna enjoy it today. I think a lot.
Well, there's a lot of background stuff going on with this. Obviously, the Canadians booed the national anthem during that game, which led to all those altercations.
I like it now that it's coming out that the U.S. guys were on a group chat planning the fight ahead of time.
Yeah,
that made it even better in my book.
Well, but I also think, isn't this a microcosm of how the U.S. operates anyway, right? Where, you cross this and we immediately go to violence, right?
DEFCON 4.
Yeah. Roger, I guess, NJ, both of you did you watch, you're both more along in years.
Yes.
Did you watch
That's one way
the
to put it.
Miracle on Ice game
Yes.
1980?
Yes.
So this is maybe one of the more politically motivated hockey games or sporting events that we've had in quite a while. And for some reason, it always seems like it's hockey that gets involved in kind of the cultural background stuff. How does this stack up? And we have not seen the championship game yet. How does this stack up to 1980 Miracle on Ice? I would say less than. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment because that was a little bit different.
We're not at war with Canada.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Keep crossing us.
But they may be the 51st state. I don't know. Just some guy has said that.
But Isaac,
similarities and differences is what I'm looking for.
Here's the beauty of being the age that Jay and I are. The world was different when that game occurred between the USA and the Soviet Union.
Yes.
And you have to remember that, and you won't remember because you were not alive.
No.
The Soviet Union was this big, bad, where those hockey players, they were born and raised solely for that moment in the Olympics.
Yeah, they were like peeing blood and stuff.
And we had a bunch of ragtag losers that are just on this team, and you would normally get destroyed by Russia, right? And the fact that they were able to go in there and beat that team, and not just beat them, but beat them straight up. It was not like some fluky weird thing at the end or anything like that. There's probably no single sporting event that could ever top that moment if you were alive during that time and actually watching it. I will say one thing, though. Being in Alaska, we already knew who had won before we got to actually see the game because everything was on this significant tape delay. Right?
I was on the East Coast, so we only had 3 channels. We had ABC, NBC, and Fox, or ABC, NBC, and CBS. So you're pretty limited on what you could watch.
You almost
anyway.
had to watch the
game.
game.
We did watch it, and I remember, of course, 1980. I was only 8, but I knew enough to know that. That was a big deal for America.
Was there the type of buzz going into it? I imagine is very similar, although in that instance, the U.S. is clearly the underdog. They had a bunch of college kids playing in that game.
I don't think anybody expected us to win. No one. So I don't think from what my recollection, it wasn't this big build-up like we got a chance to beat Russia. It just came out of the blue like we beat Russia.
No, and that's why Al Michaels' call at the end, which everyone on the planet has heard.
Right.
Yep. Do
you believe in miracles?
Right.
Believe in
miracles?
Because that's what it was.
I did say that doing play-by-play once. It was a 4-0 comeback, and as a joke, I had told my color commentator, it was 4-0 after the second period. I said, if they come back, I'll do the miracles line at the end of this game, and lo and behold, in a shootout, they come back and win 5-4. They scored like 2 goals left in the third period. But yeah, obviously, iconic, one of the most iconic play-by-play bits in sports history.
But I think the thing that a lot of people don't remember is that was not the gold medal game.
No, that was the semifinal game.
And so we had one more to win, and how lame would that have been had we gone on and lost the championship game? But of course, the U.S. team did not do that.
So now a game that has taken a lot of national attention, that's an international game, not even the Olympics, by the way. And that's another crazy thing. Not only is tonight's game a rematch of this crazy round-robin intense game, but we're probably going to see, or we have the chance to see, another best-on-best rematch in a year where the stakes are most likely higher because it's for, or could be for a medal. So
But
this is a great
Will it be
preview.
the same though? Because some of these players will go play for their home country.
Well, no, all these players are from the U.S. or Canada. They're all playing for their country. There will be more teams, which will be the difference. So the Canada and the U.S. may not meet in a medal round or at all. But this is a nice. Well, it's a change of pace from some of those early games that I think have put this U.S. hockey national pride thing into the national eye, because obviously there's the movie in 2004 and blah, 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 where now the U.S. are I would say, the favorites heading into this game. I don't know what the line is, but what are your guys' expectations going into this hockey game?
I hope that we don't boo the Canadian national anthem.
But it's in Boston, Jay.
I know it's in Boston, and it's probably going to happen because Boston fans are rabid. But I hope that we don't, as a whole.
It would be more passive aggressive to just cheer very loudly and then grandstand about how much better we are than the Canadians.
Yeah. But playing Freebird after every goal was a nice touch.
I play Freebird, baby. That is my favorite thing about this U.S. team.
I wonder if they're going to continue to do that or have another song.
Well, it's their goal song for the tournament. I don't know what will go in. We did hear this morning that Adam Fox is apparently going back to New York, and Quinn Hughes, who was not going to be able to play, now as a result should be in the lineup tonight, which is huge for the Americans. Cale Makar back for Canada, but Jordan Bennington getting the start in net after giving up 3 absolute softies over the course of the last 3 games. If Canada loses this tournament, the Canadian citizens will tear apart the executives of Hockey Canada with torches and pitchforks.
They've already said they would almost start their whole program over.
They're primed. They are primed. Yeah. It is. What makes this so interesting for Hockey Canada is they have had a lot of scandals and a lot of negative PR for a variety of reasons over the past few years. And if they lose this game, first of all, many Canadians are saying that Jordan Bennington shouldn't have even been at this tournament in the first place. They left off the player that has the second best save percentage in the NHL, Logan Thompson, off their roster. Darcy Kemper, also one of the top goalies in the NHL, not on their roster. And then they took Jordan Bennington, who has one of, like a middle of the pack, lower save percentage. And they didn't even try out Aiden Hill, who many believe should have been their number 1 going into this tournament. So now they have played Jordan Bennington all 4 games, we're assuming, because they didn't try anyone else in net. You would assume you stick with the guy that you've had. If the U.S. wins this game and if Jordan Bennington gives up a soft goal, I expect the Hockey Canada offices to burn to the ground the next day, because I think that this has captured a lot of U.S. sports fans' attention, which hockey does not always do.
Right.
But
me included.
But for Canada, this is the thing. This is what everyone is watching.
So
and
pickleball's not big in Canada?
Not as big. No, not as big as hockey. And so if the U.S. loses this game, it's like, darn, man, that would have been cool. Like we should have done it. We beat them once before, man.
And I guess college basketball is not big in Canada.
No. If Canada loses, Canada, I think, has way more to lose than the U.S. does in this game, especially based off the decision making of their executives. So I am nervous, but I am excited for this game. I think there's what I'm seeing online is a lot of Canadians that are nervous and dreading this game and the outcome of this game.
Well, here's what I would say to our Canadian viewers, of which I'm sure there's many. Please do not burn down anything if you lose this game. But
it's just a game.
But here's my thought, right? And we've seen this throughout sports history, where one team has maybe been bullied or aggressively lost because of the actions of another team. And so the fact that the U.S. team just went straight to fighting immediately, there's an edge that the Canadian team has, which is a subtle edge, but it's real, which is this different burning passion now to show the U.S. team that you can't push us around and you can't do this stuff to us and you can't behave this way, and suddenly the tables can get turned a little bit because your commitment to excellence on that particular moment is greater than the other teams who believes they will just steamroll you. And so the U.S. team needs to play smart hockey tonight.
Well, and unfortunately, they're missing Charlie McAvoy, and now even though you get Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox is still a good defenseman, so you're missing two big pieces on the back end. Canada, outside of goaltending, probably now has the advantage both in their defensive core and their forwards by a slim margin. So this game for me is really going to come down to Connor Hellebuyck and how solid he can perform on the back end, how many he can steal, and
because Canada outshot them in the last game by quite a bit.
Right, and that's score effects because the U.S. is leading going into the third period. What you'll see in hockey is usually the team that's up heading into the third period gets absolutely shelled in the third because they're focused on defense.
Right.
In this tournament, when it's best on best, when the skill level is this high, and it's been some fantastic hockey over the last week, your goaltender can't let up any softies, and he has to be able to steal a couple for you when you're at this high of a level. So Connor Hellebuyck has the capabilities to do that, but he has also folded in high-pressure situations in the playoffs. He's looked really good this tournament. You need him to continue that, and I think if Hellebuyck plays at the level that he has so far over the two games that he was in, because the U.S., even though they knew who they were going to start tonight, still played Jake Ottinger in a game that didn't matter, because why would you ride your starting goalie that hard over the course of the week? Because the U.S. executives at least have something going on upstairs. If Hellebuyck is able to steal a couple early and keep Canada out of the back of the net early, and it can turn into kind of that defensive back and forth physical game that the U.S. excelled in all tournament, but especially in that game against Canada, I think the U.S. could win this game, and I think it could be very bad news for Hockey Canada. But, Roger, to your point, I think that the U.S. is in a disadvantage in that they won that first game, and now if you lose in this one, well, then how important is Saturday night? You lost the one that mattered.
Right.
And how do you guys think that home field advantage will be in this?
Bostonians are nuts.
Yeah.
And you heard the Canadian fans that just did not stop screaming the first 5 minutes of the game, really, until the U.S. tied it up. I hope that Boston brings the same energy tonight for this championship game and makes it a miserable place to play in for the Canadians.
Maybe all the Eagles fans will come over that way, and because they're rowdy anyway.
This unites us all.
It does.
It's Team USA, baby. And
Pittsburgh Pirate. I mean, not the
Penguins,
Steelers. Maybe all those fans will come.
Yeah. This is what makes these national games so much fun for me, is that all the hockey fandoms that are usually so at each other's throats can all get behind this and get behind their guys. You kind of put aside those normal rivalries and cheer for players and cheer with other fans that you normally would not cheer with. And so
I saw where the GM invited the president.
Yeah.
But he can't come. He's got to speak to the governors tonight.
Yeah.
But he's going to speak to the team before the game.
We will.
Has that ever happened in a hockey game?
I don't know. I don't know the last time that has happened in a hockey game. But they're playing or ever in any sports.
Oh no! So the president, this. The end of the Super Bowl, it's always the phone call from the president.
Yeah,
right?
And he rode around at Daytona in the Beast before the race and got on the radio and spoke to all the NASCAR drivers.
Yeah, but this is different because this is Team USA.
Yeah, but
I mean, this is against another country.
Right.
I mean, I still believe the chances of us fighting Canada are slim. So let's just
depends on the score.
Well, and I do want to go back to Jay's point. One of the things that I appreciate about America is we don't normally treat other people's anthems poorly.
Yeah.
So I really do hope that we are respectful,
gracious
going forward.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It's a big game. Hopefully we all have something to cheer about on Friday. But I will say that when you look at the positive buzz that has surrounded hockey this past week compared to what's going on with the NBA All-Star Game, it's nice for my big sport to finally be on the right side of that conversation. And I think that this is an event that can be duplicated by the NBA, by the MLB. You've seen all of the attention that it's gotten as a result of the way that these international games kind of unite sports fans in a country. And so I hope that other leagues take a look at this and try to emulate this moving forward. Because this is a million times better than an All-Star game. I never want to watch an All-Star game.
It's better than the
after
Pro
this.
Bowl flag football game.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Cancel that.
100%. Okay. Well, thank you guys for helping
Well, the
me
last thing I'm
fill
going to
in.
say, though, Isaac, is how cool would it be if Canada immediately dropped gloves and started punching Americans?
No one would be that upset by it.
Turnabout's fair play. You know?
I think people
They
should
need
not
to play
expect
Freebird during the fight, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty fun. That
Or
would be
Eye of
pretty
the
fun.
Tiger, something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
That people should not expect as many fights tonight, but I think that I'm putting the over under probably at maybe a 1.5. I think you might see one depending on how things go, especially early on in the game. So, okay, well, I'm glad that both of you actually watch some hockey for as big an of an event as this is. And everyone else needs to join in when it comes to this stuff too, because you are missing a really great product right now if you're not watching these games.
Should be good.
I have not seen a hockey game as skilled as the ones I've watched this week in a long time.
I've never been nervous watching a hockey game.
You
ever.
can be nervous now.
I was
nervous today.
I was Saturday.
We're putting
I
it on.
was, yeah.
I'll
Well,
put it on here.
and people that don't really watch hockey, if you just watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's really all you need to do to understand how intense and amazing this sport really can be. A regular season game, I get it. Stanley Cup playoffs,
You're
top
missing
of the
out.
line. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Sports Unite us all. Team USA.
Go America.
Uniting us all. Go America. We'll see you next time on To the House.